What if the most powerful shift in your life doesn't come from working harder, healing deeper, or doing more, but from changing the way you speak? Not to sound positive, not to manifest faster, but to finally sound like you, aligned, rooted, and soul-led. In this video, we're unlocking the codes of mystic language, the words that don't just describe your reality, but reprogram it. If you're here for spiritual depth, energetic upgrades, and weekly tools to speak your next level into existence, like this video, tap that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a release. Your voice is a portal. Let's open it together. Let's dive in. Module 1, the mystic's voice. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. That's not just a poetic quote, it's an invitation. In this first module of Speak Like a Mystic, words that heal, shift, and elevate, we begin not with speaking, but with remembering. We're not here to learn ordinary communication. We're here to reclaim the voice of your higher self, the one that speaks from beyond ego, beyond habit, beyond performance. Because when a mystic speaks, they don't speak to impress or inform. They speak to transform. And that journey begins here. Part 1. The power hidden in plain sound. Let's start with a question that might feel deceptively simple. When was the last time your words actually felt sacred to you? Not just nice, not kind, not clever, but sacred as if what you were saying had weight, frequency, and presence. Pause and let that question settle. Our world is saturated with words, texts, emails, social media, non-stop chatter. We scroll, skim, post, and perform. Language has become casual, strategic, and often exhausting. But mystics, true mystics, use words differently. They speak like they know each syllable is a key, a doorway, a spell, a spark that can ignite consciousness. They understand that speech is not just sound, it's vibration, it's intention clothed in form. In nearly every ancient spiritual tradition, the universe itself begins with sound. The Hindus speak of Om, the cosmic syllable, the sound of creation. In the Bible, we read, "In the beginning was the Word." The Egyptians honored Thoth, the god of language, writing, and magic. Indigenous shamans chant to harmonize the seen and unseen worlds. This isn't metaphor, it's metaphysics. Language does not describe reality. Language creates reality. So ask yourself again, what are you creating every time you open your mouth? Part 2. The voice you were born with. Beneath all the voices you've been taught to use, the polite voice, the professional voice, the self-deprecating voice, the spiritual but not too spiritual voice. There's a voice you were born with. You knew it as a child before you learned how to hide it. That voice spoke with clarity, wonder, fire, and feeling. It said yes when it meant yes. It said no without explanation. It asked big questions with a wide open heart. That voice wasn't filtered through fear, self-doubt, or performance. But over time, we muted it. We learned that some truths were too loud, that some questions were too strange, that some desires made other people uncomfortable. And so we traded our authentic voice for one that would make us safe. But here's the paradox. You can't become who you really are if you're speaking like who you're pretending to be. Mystics unlearn the noise. They find their way back to silence, and from there, they speak again. From presence, from power, from peace. Part 3. The Mystic's Silence. This course is about speaking. But to speak like a mystic, we must first listen like one. In mystical traditions, silence is not empty. Silence is not absence, it's presence intensified. Silence is the womb of sacred speech. It's where language is gestated, tested, and purified. It's how mystics learn to distinguish the voice of ego from the voice of the soul. That's why many initiatory traditions begin with vow of silence. Because to speak with power, you must first know what's worth saying. Here's the paradox. True power in speech doesn't come from more talking. It comes from aligned talking. Talking that arises from deep listening. Part 4. Frequency over form. Let's talk about vibration. Words are not just carriers of meaning. They are carriers of energy. You can say the same sentence, "I'm fine," in a tone that radiates peace, or in a tone that screams, "I'm falling apart." So mystic speech isn't just about what you say. It's about where you say it from. Every word you speak carries the imprint of your consciousness. If you speak from fear, your words contract the room. If you speak from presence, your words open it. Even silence, when held in love, can change the frequency of a space. This is why some mystics say fewer words but with greater impact. Their words land, they echo, they shift things. Part 5. Claiming your sacred word. Now, we move from concept to practice. You are invited now to choose a sacred word. This word will become your anchor, your signal, your energetic return point throughout this course. It should be personal. You must resonate with it. Powerful. It stirs something when you speak it. Present tense. It brings you here, not into the past or future. Examples might be peace, truth, I am, open now, home, remember, freedom. Let it come intuitively. You don't need to explain it. You just need to feel it. Once you've chosen it, speak it aloud, slowly, deliberately, with presence. Say it again. Feel how the word lands in your body, not just in your mouth or throat, but in your chest, your gut, your energy field. This is your first step in speaking like a mystic, choosing one word that becomes a whole world. Part 6. Integration practice. For the next 24 hours, use this sacred word as a daily anchor. Whisper it in moments of stress. Speak it before important conversations. Write it down. Meditate on it. Let it inform your tone, your energy, your rhythm. At the end of the day, ask, how did I speak differently today because of this word? Part 7. Reflection prompt. Journal it. Don't edit. Just let your deeper self respond. Notice what comes up. Not just in thoughts, but in tone. Your higher self may not speak like your everyday voice. It may be simpler, clearer, more loving, more direct, or more still. Begin to tune in to that voice, because in the next module, we will explore how to transmute your everyday language from limitation into liberation. The mystic does not use words to control. They use words to align, to name truth, to open hearts, to collapse illusion, to call energy home. This is the voice you're remembering. And this is only the beginning. Module 2, Word Alchemy, transmuting language from limitation to liberation. There are words you've spoken every day and never realized they were casting spells. Words like I can't. I'm trying. This always happens to me. Harmless, right? But what if I told you these aren't just words? They are contracts you've made with reality. Welcome to Module 2, Word Alchemy. This is where we begin turning language into a tool of transformation, a living force you can use to transmute limitation into liberation. You are not just speaking your reality. You are shaping it. And in this module, you'll learn how to shape it deliberately. Part 1. the hidden architecture of your speech. Let's begin with a powerful idea. The way you speak reveals what you believe in, what you unconsciously expect. Your words aren't random. They are the architecture of your internal programming. Each phrase you speak is like a line of code executing a set of instructions in your energy field. Here are just a few examples of energetically contracted language. I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm not good at that. It is what it is. I don't know what's wrong with me. That's just how I've always been. People like me don't. Now pause. How often do you say these things, or slight variations, without realizing they're reinforcing an identity? These are not neutral phrases. These are microspells that reinforce stuckness and train your nervous system to expect limitation. Part 2. Language loops and identity scripts. When you repeat a phrase often enough, it becomes a belief. When that belief sticks, it becomes a default identity. I'm overwhelmed becomes I am someone who is always behind. I'll never figure this out becomes I am someone who can't trust herself. And before long, you're not just describing your life, you're defending a script you never meant to write. These language loops become identity loops, and identity loops become energetic cages. But here's the mystical truth. If language can trap you, it can also free you. Part 3. The science of speech meets spirit. Modern science and ancient mysticism agree on one thing. Words carry vibration. The work of Dr. Masaru Emoto showed how water molecules responded to different words, thoughts, and intentions. Words like love and gratitude created crystalline, coherent patterns. Words like hate or you disgust me created chaotic, fragmented ones. Now remember, your body is over 70% water. So when you speak words aloud, your cells are listening. Your field is listening. Your soul is listening. What are you programming into your reality with your words? You can either reinforce your wounds or rewrite your world. Part 4. Alchemizing your common phrases. Let's get practical. In this part of the module, we'll go phrase by phrase and explore word alchemy, transforming everyday low-frequency phrases into higher vibration statements that activate your true identity. Example 1. Old phrase. I'm just trying to keep up. Energy, powerlessness, burnout, survival. Alchemized version. I'm learning how to lead from center, not speed. Or, I choose to honor my own pace as sacred. Example 2. Old phrase. This is just how I am. Energy, stuckness, resignation. Alchemized version. I'm in the process of becoming who I truly am. Example 3. Old phrase. I'm so bad at that. Energy, shame, contraction. Alchemized version. This is an area I'm curious to expand in. Notice how these upgraded phrases don't just sound more positive. They shift your posture, your frequency, and your self-concept. That's the essence of word alchemy. Part 5. The body response test. Want to know if a phrase is aligned with your higher self? Say it out loud and check in with your body. Does your chest open or contract? Do you feel expansive or heavy? Does your breath deepen or get stuck in your throat? Your body will never lie about your language. Part 6. Your word audit. It's time to identify your most common low-frequency phrases, the ones you say out of habit, fatigue, or self-protection. Grab your journal or speak into a voice recorder and complete this prompt. Here are the top 3 phrases I say that shrink my power. Now for each one, complete this. Where did I learn this phrase? What identity does it reinforce? What new phrase can I create to embody my higher self instead? Part 7. The language of the higher self. Now, let's explore the kinds of words your higher self naturally speaks. These phrases may sound like, "I trust the unfolding. This is part of my expansion. I'm safe to take up space. I know how to return to my truth. This moment is a portal, not a problem." Do you feel the difference? The higher self doesn't need to prove anything. It speaks from clarity, not comparison. From groundedness, not grasping. Your higher self doesn't deny reality. It reclaims power within it. Part 8. Crafting your mystic lexicon. Now it's your turn. Create a list of 5 to 10 alchemized phrases that you'll begin using deliberately this week. We'll call this your mystic lexicon, a personal glossary of energetically aligned expressions that elevate your inner and outer world. Here are some starters. I am recalibrating, not failing. I speak life into my vision. I am softening, not shrinking. This is not rejection, it's redirection. I don't chase, I choose. Write yours now. Speak them aloud. Let them recode your field. Part 9. Quantum speaking practice. This practice is simple, but energetically potent. Instructions. Stand in front of a mirror or close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths into your belly. Say one of your mystic lexicon phrases out loud, slowly, powerfully, and with full presence. Repeat 3 to 5 times, noticing how your energy shifts. This is not affirmation. This is embodiment. You're not just saying the words, you are becoming them. Part 10. Integration reflection. Take a moment to integrate. What phrase do I now choose to retire once and for all? What phrase will I now use to speak from my future self? Let this be a conscious, energetic reset. Every time you speak, you are casting a vote for the reality you want to live in. You can continue using language that reflects your past, or you can choose language that pulls your future closer. You are not a victim of words. You are a weaver of them. Speak with care. Speak with clarity. Speak as if the universe is listening, because it is. Module 3. Healing words. Restoring wholeness through sacred speech. Some words soothe, some words shatter, some words settle into the body like medicine, and others leave scars that last for years. Welcome to Module 3 of Speak Like a Mystic. This is the heart of the healing. In today's session, we're diving into healing words, how the things we say and don't say affect our nervous system, our emotional landscape, and our ability to return to wholeness. You'll learn how to speak to yourself like someone worth healing, and how to use your voice to release, soothe, and reintegrate the parts of you that still believe they're not safe to exist. This is not just about affirmations. This is about emotional alchemy, using words as tools of energetic restoration. Part 1. The wounds we speak without knowing. Let's begin with a truth that's easy to overlook. Every phrase you speak, internally or externally, either deepens your fragmentation or invites you back into wholeness. And yet, so much of what we say to ourselves is rooted in shame. I should have known better. What's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Of course, this happened again. These words don't just reflect a wounded self-image, they reinforce it. Language becomes the way trauma keeps repeating itself. Not because the past is happening again, but because our words keep dragging the past into the present. What if your inner dialogue isn't a character flaw, but a trauma echo that's asking to be healed? Part 2. Shame language versus soul language. Let's explore the energetic difference between shame-based speech and soul-aligned speech. Shame language sounds like, "I always mess this up. I can't believe I did that. They probably think I'm too much. I don't even know who I am anymore." The energy of shame language is heavy, looping, judgmental, tied to the past self, focused on proving or hiding. Soul language sounds like, "This part of me needs more love, not more punishment. I didn't know then what I know now. I forgive myself for forgetting who I am." This is what growth looks like in real time. Soul language is gentle, present, compassionate, rooted in curiosity, focused on integration. Shame pushes us away from ourselves. Healing speech brings us home. Part 3. Words that touch the nervous system. Words don't just live in the mind. They land in the body. They tighten our shoulders. They clench our gut. They race our hearts or calm them down. Your nervous system is listening to your inner narrator. It remembers every time you said, "This always happens to me. I can't handle this. I'm not strong enough," and it shapes your responses accordingly. But it also remembers when you start saying, "This is hard, but I'm safe. This pain belongs here," until it's ready to shift. "I'm holding myself with care while this moves through." Those words don't deny the pain, they soothe it. That's the magic of mystic speech. It's honest and healing. It tells the truth without turning it into a wound. Part 4. Reclaiming the voice that was silenced. Some of us were taught that our voice was too loud, too emotional, too intense, too needy, too different. So we silenced ourselves, not just externally, but internally. We learned to swallow our truth before anyone else could reject it. But healing begins when we give ourselves permission to speak what was once unspeakable. You don't need to make it poetic. You don't need to make it perfect. You just need to say, "That hurt. I'm grieving something I never got to name. I'm still carrying pain that isn't mine. I deserve to take up space, even while I'm healing." Part 5. Healing phrases for emotional integration. Let's explore some healing phrases that you can begin using in your daily life to reconnect with your body, soothe your inner child, and rewrite your internal narrative. You might choose to say these in meditation, in front of a mirror, after triggering conversations, before sleep, while holding yourself during emotional waves. Examples: "It's okay that I feel this way. This version of me is not a problem to fix. My feelings are valid. Even if they're messy, I am still worthy. Even when I'm not productive, I don't have to earn rest or love. The part of me that's hurting deserves my tenderness." Speak them slowly, gently, repeatedly. Let them land like balm in your energy field. Part 6. Sacred apologies and self-forgiveness. Now, let's talk about one of the most radical mystical tools you have. Apology. Not the performative kind, the sacred kind. This is not about groveling. This is about repairing what shame disconnected. Sometimes, the person who needs your apology is you. Try saying, "I'm sorry I judged you so harshly. I'm sorry I abandoned you when you needed care. I'm sorry I only spoke to you in conditions when you were winning, succeeding, or performing. I forgive you for not knowing how to love yourself yet." This kind of self-forgiveness is not indulgence. It's integration. It's how we stop fighting ourselves and begin reuniting with our wholeness. Part 7. Rescripting the inner voice. Let's do a powerful rescript. Think of a voice or phrase you've been carrying for years that no longer serves you. For example, "You'll never be good enough. You always ruin everything. No one really sees you. Now write a healing version of that phrase, something your inner child or highest self would say instead. Examples: you've always been enough. You were just asking for love in the wrong places. Mistakes don't erase your essence. I see you now. I will not leave you again. Speak your new version aloud. Feel the shift. That's what healing words do. Part 8. Your healing voice in daily life. You don't have to wait for a crisis to speak like a mystic. Bring your healing words into the mundane. When you wake up, I meet this day with softness in the mirror. I love who I'm becoming. During stress, this is pressure, not punishment. In doubt, I don't need certainty to stay rooted in myself. The more you practice this kind of speech, the more you retrain your field to operate from safety and self-compassion, not from shame or survival. Let's end with one final truth. Healing doesn't always happen in breakthroughs. Sometimes it happens in gentle, repeated words whispered to yourself when no one else is around. The world may not always hear the sacred conversations you have with yourself, but your soul hears them. Your energy hears them. And with every word, you're remembering who you are. Module 4. The language of light. Speaking beyond words. Channeling from soul. What if the most powerful messages you have to share can't be found in your vocabulary? What if the deepest truths you hold aren't meant to be understood but felt? Welcome to Module 4, the language of light. In this session, we step beyond the limits of logical language and into the realm of frequency, intuition, and energetic transmission. We'll explore what it means to speak from your soul, why the mystic's voice is often wordless, the sacred role of sound, vibration, and light language, how to channel authentic, intuitive expression even if it doesn't make sense to the rational mind. This is the language of light. It's not meant to impress the intellect. It's meant to awaken the soul. Part 1. The limit of literal language. Let's begin with something honest. Sometimes words fail us. Have you ever felt something so powerful, so sacred, that any attempt to explain it felt inadequate? That's the moment when literal language reaches its limit. It's the moment when your soul begins to speak in a different way. This is not the voice of the ego. This is the voice beneath the voice, the one that communicates in tone, energy, feeling, and symbol. This is the voice mystics spend lifetimes tuning into. And once you learn how to listen to it, you realize you were never meant to explain your soul in words. You were meant to transmit it. Part 2. Speaking from the soul. So what does it mean to speak from the soul? It means you're not performing, you're not filtering, you're not forcing clarity before it's ready. To speak from the soul is to trust that what's coming through you is worthy, even if it's messy, abstract, or incomplete. Sometimes it's a metaphor, a gesture, a song, a vibration, a phrase that makes no rational sense, but feels true. Speaking from the soul isn't about being understood. It's about being transmitted. Mystics speak in codes, in cadence, in imagery. They speak to your energy, not your intellect, because that's how the soul speaks. Part 3. Energetic communication in daily life. Here's something to notice. You already speak energy every single day. Have you ever said, "I don't know why, but that just didn't feel right"? There's something about their tone that shifted everything. I could feel what she meant, even if she didn't say it out loud. That's energetic communication in action. You're tuning into body language, emotional resonance, intuitive subtext, spiritual vibration. This is where mystic communication lives, in the space between words. When you learn to listen to energy first, you stop over-explaining and start transmitting presence. Part 4. Introduction to Light Language. Now we enter a truly mystical domain, light language. What is it? Light language is a form of non-linear, multidimensional expression. It may sound like tones, clicks, rhythmic syllables, singing or whispering, ancient or unknown tongues. You might have heard it from spiritual practitioners, or even channeled it yourself in meditation, breathwork, or altered states. But what is it really? Light language is frequency in motion. It bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the soul. It's not something you learn with your mind. It's something you remember with your body. Part 5. What light language is not. Let's clarify what it's not. It's not performance. It's not about sounding mystical or spiritual. It's not about impressing others or making sense. It's not for the ego. In fact, if you're trying to speak light language, you're probably not ready to transmit it, because it's not something you force. It's something that flows. Sometimes it comes through when you're journaling, or when you're walking in nature, or in deep prayer or grief. It can sound wild, primal, soft, childlike. It can sound like music, or like chaos. But when it's real, no, because your body will vibrate with recognition. Part 6. Accessing the language of light within you. You don't need to channel to speak sacredly. In fact, the most powerful spiritual transmission often happens when you whisper to yourself in deep emotion, hum or chant when words won't come. Speak softly in prayer, even when you don't know who's listening. Say your own name with love. These moments are holy. You are already a channel of your own soul. Here's how to begin reconnecting with the language of light. Practice. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Take 3 deep breaths. Allow any sounds, syllables, or gentle hums to rise. Don't judge, don't translate. Let them move through your throats, softly, wildly, freely. This is not about what it sounds like. It's about how it feels. You are opening your inner voice to its multidimensional intelligence. Part 7. Your soul's transmission style. Every soul has a unique way of transmitting energy. Yours might come through poetry, symbolism, dance, drawing, chant, channeling, written or spoken messages, dream recall, prophetic metaphors. Your mystic language doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be authentic. Begin noticing, when do I feel most connected to something bigger than myself? What type of expression moves through me without planning? That's where your transmission style lives. Part 8. Trusting the irrational voice. We've been conditioned to only trust what makes sense, but your soul is not linear. Your soul speaks in pattern, paradox, frequency, feeling. The mystical voice is irrational by design. It doesn't speak to the surface. It speaks to the depths. Sometimes your voice might feel strange, wild, or even nonsensical. But if it carries truth, you'll feel it resonate. You are here to remember your resonance, not to prove your logic. Part 9. Embodied mystic speaking practice. Here's a guided practice you can return to. Light language, embodiment practice. Sit in silence for 2 minutes. Place both hands over your heart. Whisper your name 3 times. Ask within, what wants to speak through me today? Begin humming, toning, or making soft sounds. Let your body move or gesture if needed. Speak, chant, or sing what arises. No script, no structure, just expression from soul. Close your eyes and let your voice become a frequency, not a performance. Let it come through as a reminder, not a revelation. Part 10. Transmission versus translation, a final distinction. Don't worry about explaining your sacred voice. Focus on transmitting it. You're not here to convert, convince, or clarify. You're here to radiate. If your voice carries truth, it will bypass the defenses of the mind and land directly in the field of those who are ready to receive it. The mystic doesn't shout. The mystic doesn't debate. The mystic speaks in symbols, and the right hearts remember how to listen. Let's close with this. Your voice is not just sound. Your voice is soul in motion. When you speak without seeking approval, when you express what rises without needing to explain, when you let your frequency lead before your mind catches up, you become a vessel for something sacred. The language of light is not a language of words. It is a language of remembrance, and you're speaking it every time you show up in truth. Module 5. Mystic Mantras. Creating and embodying words that rewire reality. Repetition is not just how we remember. Repetition is how we become. Welcome to Module 5, Mystic Mantras. In this session, we dive into the transformational power of spoken repetition, how to create, customize, and embody mantras that rewire your energy field and align you with your higher self. You'll learn what makes a mantra sacred, why repetition alters consciousness, how to create mantras that feel alive, how mystics use mantras to regulate, realign, and reimagine their lives. You're not just saying words, you're speaking yourself into a new, energetic blueprint. Let's begin. Part 1. Why mantras matter. Let's start with this. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition. You didn't become self-critical in one day. You became self-critical through repeated messages, patterns, and phrases. Some you chose, some you absorbed. Likewise, you can't become your higher self in one meditation, but you can tune your frequency to that self every time you speak a new kind of word into the space around you. This is the power of a mantra. It trains your nervous system to associate with a new identity. It interrupts old thought spirals. It grounds new beliefs into the body, not just the mind. It invites you to become the person who already believes it. Mantras are energy coders. They're not meant to make you feel good. They're meant to shift who you think you are. Part 2. The anatomy of a mystic mantra. A mystic mantra has 3 qualities. 1. Resonance. It feels true, even if it's aspirational. Example: I am safe to expand. My presence is enough. You don't need to fully believe it yet, but it should pull you forward. 2. Embodiment. It lands in your body. Try whispering it. Try saying it slowly. Notice, does it settle in your chest? Open your breath. Relax your shoulders. 3. Repetition. It's designed to be repeated, not explained. This is not an affirmation paragraph. It's a seed phrase that builds power every time you return to it. Part 3. Ancient roots, modern use. The word mantra comes from Sanskrit. Man means mind. Tra means tool or vehicle. So a mantra is a tool of the mind. But for mystics, it's also a vehicle for spiritual transmission. In traditions across the world, mantras have been used to call in protection, align with divine energies, dissolve illusion, enter altered states, anchor devotion, activate healing. Mantras aren't about language, they're about frequency. You could say, Am Brahmasmi, I am divine consciousness, or simply say, I am. Both carry power when spoken with intention. Part 4. avoiding the pitfall of empty affirmations. Let's address something important. Repeating words you don't believe can cause energetic resistance. Have you ever said, "I love myself, I'm abundant, I'm beautiful," and felt your body tense up? That's not because mantras don't work. It's because the gap between the words and your current identity is too wide. The solution is not to stop using mantras. The solution is to build a bridge. For example, instead of "I love myself," try "I'm learning to speak to myself with kindness." Instead of "I'm abundant," try "I'm opening to the flow of abundance one breath at a time." The goal is to choose mantras that feel like home and evolution at the same time. Part 5. Creating your mystic mantras. Let's now create some mantras you can live inside of. Here are 4 powerful categories to choose from. 1. Identity mantras. These anchor your being, not just your goals. Examples: I am sovereign. I am whole, even when I'm healing. I am not who I was, and that is sacred. 2. Emotional regulation mantras. These help you recenter during stress, fear, or self-doubt. Examples: I can be with this. I breathe before I react. This is pressure, not punishment. 3. Expansion mantras. These open you to receiving more. Examples: I allow ease to find me. It's safe to want more. I trust joy. 4. Integration mantras. These unify the journey, shadow and light. Examples: every version of me brought me here. I'm not behind, I'm building something sacred. Even when I fall in alignment. Part 6. Activating your mantra practice. Once you've chosen a mantra or created your own, here's how to activate it. Daily mystic mantra practice. 1. Choose one mantra per day or week. 2. Say it out loud 7 to 21 times each morning. Whisper it, chant it, or speak it with presence. 3. Pair it with movement, breathwork, or stillness. 4. Repeat it in moments of emotional need, not to deny the feeling, but to remind your body of truth. You are not using the mantra to escape your feelings. You are using it to hold yourself within them. Part 7. Advanced practice. Living your mantra. Mystics don't just recite mantras, they live them. Let's take an example. If your mantra is, "I am safe to expand," ask yourself, how would I walk with that mantra in my body? What choices would I make from that vibration? How would I show up in relationships? What version of me is already living this truth? Mantras are not magic spells. They are reminders of the real you beneath the programming. Part 8. Soul Mantra Channeling Practice. Try this intuitive exercise. 1. Get still. Breathe deeply. 2. Ask yourself, what does my soul want to hear right now? 3. Let a short phrase arise, spontaneous, simple, and sincere. 4. Speak it aloud 3 times. 5. Write it down and carry it with you today. That is your soul mantra, direct line to your deepest intelligence. Part 9. Closing mantras to carry forward. Let's close this module with a few mantras you can begin working with immediately. I am becoming more me, one breath at a time. My voice is a sacred instrument of alignment. I create through presence, not pressure. I speak in partnership with my soul. Every word I speak now reflects the life I'm calling in. Choose one. Speak it aloud, and remember, your words are not empty. They are sacred carriers of frequency. Speak them like spells. Speak them like prayers. Speak them until they speak you back into being. Module 6. Sacred Conversations. Speaking with others from soul alignment. We've spent this course learning how to speak like a mystic within ourselves. But what happens when we bring that voice into the world? Welcome to Module 6, Sacred Conversations. In this session, we explore how to carry your elevated language, soul alignment, and conscious vibration into your relationships, so that every conversation becomes a channel for truth, clarity, and healing. You'll learn how to speak with heart, not ego, how to hold your energy during conflict, how to listen like a mystic, how to use conscious language to shift the room without controlling it. This is where mystic speech meets the real world, not through performance, but through presence. Let's begin. Part 1. The problem with performative communication. Let's be honest. Most of us have been taught to speak to be liked, be right, be safe, or be impressive. But mystic speech doesn't come from a need to perform. It comes from a need to align. When we're disconnected from soul, we fall into communication traps like over-explaining, saying yes to avoid tension, passive-aggressive phrasing, not saying what we mean, and resenting others for not understanding us. All of this weakens the vibrational integrity of our voice. Because every time you speak what you don't mean, you disconnect from your truth. Part 2. Sacred Conversations. Start with sacred listening. The first skill of mystic communication is not speaking. It's listening, not just to the words people say, but to the energy underneath them. When someone speaks, can you feel what they're not saying? Can you sense their need, even when they're guarded? Can you stay anchored in your truth while still creating space for theirs? Mystic listening requires curiosity, spaciousness, embodied presence, compassion without collapsing. It's not about fixing or analyzing. It's about being a mirror that doesn't distort the reflection. Part 3. Owning your frequency in conversation. Here's a core principle. You are responsible for the energy you bring into a room. This means you don't speak from urgency when you haven't calmed your nervous system. You don't dump your chaos on someone who hasn't consented to hold it. You don't perform spiritual language to mask your anger or fear. Mystics speak from clarity, not chaos. They own their emotions and speak them in ways that honor their truth and the other person's dignity. That's sacred conversation. It's truth with boundaries, compassion with spine, honesty without projection. Part 4. Energetic filters that distort communication. Here are 3 subtle ways your voice may be losing its power. 1. People-pleasing language. It's fine, really. I don't want to be a burden. I just thought maybe. This keeps your energy small, safe, but disempowered. 2. Over-explaining. When you speak more to avoid conflict or to justify your truth. Remember, clarity doesn't require excess words, only presence. 3. Spiritual bypassing. Using elevated language to avoid discomfort. Everything happens for a reason when really you're feeling hurt. I send them love when you haven't processed your anger. Mystic speech is not about sounding enlightened. It's about sounding honest and anchored. Part 5. Heart-lined language. Let's now explore some upgrades phrases that carry more integrity, clarity, and heart. Instead of, "You never listen to me," "You're always making things about you." "I can't believe you said that." Try, "When I don't feel heard, I close down." "I want to stay open with you. I notice I feel dismissed when I share something vulnerable. That comment landed hard for me. Can I share why?" See the difference? You're not hiding your truth, you're delivering it cleanly. This is what makes a conversation sacred. The commitment to share your truth without making the other person the enemy. Part 6. The Sacred Response Practice. Here's a simple but powerful practice. The sacred response formula. 1. Pause. Breathe before reacting. 2. Feel what emotion is alive in you. 3. Name it cleanly. I feel because 4. State your intention. What I want is 5. Invite presence. Are you open to hearing more? This framework keeps your communication honest but anchored. It slows the nervous system, opens the heart, and keeps the conversation sacred. Part 7. Mystic Listening Ritual. Try this the next time you're in dialogue. 1. Focus not just on what's being said, but how it's being said. 2. Tune into their tone, their breath, what's not being said. 3. Ask yourself silently, can I hear the soul behind these words? Can I hold space without making their story about me? Mystic listening is an energetic gift. It helps people feel seen without being judged or fixed. Part 8. Conversation as ceremony. What if you treated every meaningful conversation as a sacred container? You clear your energy beforehand. You bring full presence, not distraction. You listen to connect, not correct. You close the space with intention. This is what mystics do. They treat words like offerings, silence like prayer, truth like a healing frequency. Not every conversation will go perfectly. But when your intention is devotion, the impact lingers. Part 9. Protecting your voice, preserving your power. There will be moments when the most aligned thing you can do is say less. Walk away. Pause the interaction. Speak only to someone who can meet you with respect. Not all sacred conversations sound poetic. Some are quiet exits from misalignment. Protecting your voice is part of honoring it. Mystic speech is not about speaking more. It's about speaking when it matters, and doing so from soul, not reaction. Part 10. Closing reflections. Let's end with a few anchoring questions to carry into your relationships. What would it feel like to speak from clarity instead of fear? What kind of listener do I want to be remembered as? How would I speak if I trusted I wouldn't be misunderstood? What is one truth I haven't shared because I thought I had to package it perfectly? Remember, every conversation is a chance to bring soul to the surface. Speak clearly, listen fully, stay rooted in your inner alignment, and when others are not. That's the essence of mystic communication. Module 7. Speak and shift, embodying your mystic voice in the real world. Your voice has changed, not because you learned a technique, but because you remembered something sacred. Welcome to Module 7, Speak and Shift, your final core session in Speak Like a Mystic. In this final transmission, we anchor everything we've explored: language as frequency, speech as soul expression, words as spells, mirrors, and bridges. Now, we turn inward and outward. This module is not about learning new material. It's about embodying everything you've become. Part 1. Who are you when you speak now? Pause and consider. How has your inner voice shifted since you began this journey? Are you speaking more gently to yourself, pausing before reacting, saying what's true instead of what's expected, using fewer words but with more power? This is integration, not a performance of growth, but the quiet, consistent embodiment of it. Part 2. The shift from voice to vibration. Mystic communication is not just about speech, it's about presence. Your voice doesn't start in your throat. It starts in your energy field. Before you even say a word, your energy speaks in the way you enter a room, in the quality of your silence, in how safe or unsafe others feel around you. This is why mystics can say very little and yet shift the atmosphere entirely. They've learned that the most potent communication is fully aligned, fully felt, and often completely unspoken. You don't need to explain your frequency. You need to embody it. Part 3: Identity Alchemy: Who You're Becoming. Let's explore the concept of voice as identity. Every time you speak, you are reaffirming who you believe you are. If your language still says, "I'm trying, I hope it works, I'm not ready yet," then your reality will respond accordingly. But if your language begins to say, "I am becoming, I trust the timing of my truth, I'm already shifting, moment by moment," then the universe will recalibrate. Your words are energetic votes for your future self. So ask yourself now, who am I becoming every time I speak? Part 4: Reclaiming Your Voice in the Real World. This course has been a sacred container, but now the real ceremony begins in your daily life. You might wonder, how do I speak like a mystic when I'm under pressure? How do I stay centered when others are reactive? How do I use my voice to lead, teach, parent, create, or hold space? Here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You're not here to sound spiritual. You're here to sound like you, in your clearest, truest, and most aligned form. Let your presence speak as loudly as your words. Part 5: Speak Your Becoming. Let's do an embodiment activation, mystic self-declaration practice. 1. Close your eyes. 2. Breathe slowly into your belly. 3. Place your hands over your heart. 4. Ask within, what reality am I ready to speak into form? Say out loud 3 times, "I am becoming," and finish the sentence with soul truth. 5. Let it be messy, raw, poetic, or simple. Just make it real. You are not casting a spell on the universe. You are casting a reminder into your nervous system. Speak it, repeat it, embody it. Part 6: Everyday Mystic Language Integration. Here are 5 ways to bring mystic speech into your real life. 1. Micro affirmations. Instead of overthinking, whisper phrases like, "I return to center. This is expansion, not failure. One breath at a time." 2. Pre-conversation intention setting. Before entering an important conversation, say, "I speak clearly and from soul. I allow space for truth, even if it's uncomfortable." 3. Energetic check-ins. Mid-sentence. Pause. Ask silently, "Am I speaking from alignment or from fear?" 4. End-of-day voice audit. Each evening reflect, where did I speak from my highest truth today? Where did I abandon my voice, and why? 5. Mystic voice morning practice. Speak your core mantra or soul phrase before you do anything else. Let it calibrate your field before the world gets loud. Part 7: The Embodied Mystic Voice. The mystic voice is not loud. It's not performative. It doesn't try to convince. It simply is. Clear, anchored, sourced, steady. It's the voice that doesn't rush to fill silence because it trusts what it carries. It's the voice that doesn't collapse in front of confrontation because it no longer fears being misunderstood. It's the voice that makes others feel safer in their own skin because it no longer betrays itself. The mystic voice is the voice of someone who remembers who they are when the world forgets. Part 8: Closing Invocation. Let's close with this invocation. Repeat it slowly. Speak it out loud. I now speak from soul. I now speak from center. I now speak not to perform, but to align. My voice is sacred. My truth is enough. I speak not louder, but clearer. I speak not more, but deeper. May my words shift rooms. May my presence speak louder than my doubt. I remember who I am, and I speak like it. Take a breath, feel the shift. The ceremony doesn't end here. It begins in your next conversation, your next choice, your next truth spoken from alignment. Before you go, let's ripple this message further. If something in this video opened your heart, shifted your perspective, or reminded you of who you truly are, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below and share your favorite phrase, mantra, or moment of resonance. Whether it's a whisper of truth or a full-blown awakening, your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Tag a soul friend, a voice in your life who's remembering their power. Sharing this could be the spark that helps them come home to their truth, too. And if you're ready to take this deeper, the companion workbook for this module is linked below. It's your sacred space to reflect, write, speak, and embody the voice your soul's been waiting for. Think of it as your energetic journal, mantra studio, and integration ritual all in one. So tell me, what's one word you're speaking into your life right now? Let's build a conversation that sounds like healing. Let's create a community that speaks like mystics.